Last week we spoke about some actionables on attack, making sure we were flashing to get through smokes and trying to clear angles that our teammates weren't, which, you know, it's kind of a hard thing, but we were doing those drills on split B site and a little bit on A. And then on defense, trying to look at the mini map. We didn't really focus too much on defense, but from your point of view, how did these two things feel to you?
I thought it was good. I'm still a little intimidated with when there's a lot of util, but I think that'll just take time to get used to, or like to come up with game plans, especially if I don't have my Lear or something like that. But I think I did all right.
That's fair. Okay. And with the mech training thing specifically on the turning, because I think if I recall, one of the things it was like our mouse pad was either too small or we were having like trouble flicking.
Space, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So how did that feel? Did you get any experience with this?
I practiced it a little. It was still kind of difficult for me, and I ended up, I don't know if you saw the warm-up videos, but I like would strafe to just get to where I needed to be, and that just ended up being kind of a crutch. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I just couldn't 360, so, or 180, I guess.
180, yeah. That's interesting. That's definitely something that it's generally a recommendation in terms of picking your sensitivity to pick something that you can on 180. Now, that isn't always true. You will find players, especially in the higher levels.
Sorry, I lost all audio. I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Test.
Yes.
You good?
Yeah.
No, you're good. The 180 thing when picking your sense is a guideline. At the highest level, you will see players play on sensitivities that you can't 180 with one motion, but they're so quick with two motions that they can kind of make up for it. I think in your case, it might make sense to increase our sense so that we can do the 180. Strictly because I think the learned adaptation to be able to play without a 180 is probably not worth it this early on into your journey.
Okay.
So that could be something we tried to do today to try and find what that sensitivity will be like, and then doing some drills to kind of accompany that. You did also mention that you wanted to focus a bit more, or at least touch on the drills and stuff in the range. And you're specifically saying that there was a lot kind of to cover. Or I guess like we've talked a lot of different stuff in the drills. So maybe, I guess from my point of view, it makes sense to maybe come up with kind of like a new routine on what we could be doing in the range to try and target certain things in terms of our mechanics.
Yeah, that sounds ideal to me.
That's good. So with that said, I was hoping that maybe we could look at a VOD first to see where we're at, like what kind of comes up in the game, and then trying to tailor some of those drills to that. In terms of VOD choice, I was kind of just like scouring around a little bit. On the tracker, it seems like this Pearl game would be good, but I wasn't able to find this one in particular. I did see some of the other ones. Is this one available anywhere? Just because it was a close game and you had a lot of kills, but it doesn't have to be this one. It could just be anyone. So close to gold, I know. We're getting close. Do you know what RR you're at?
I can check in a second. Sorry, my computer is like so slow right now. I don't know what's going on.
No, you're good. You're good. Take your time.
May 30th. What was that? Pearl?
Pearl, yes. It might be a different day for you.
Okay, can we watch it muted? My teammates were kind of weird.
That's fine.
I think. Yeah.
Tracker says 82. Wait, you can see that?
I have it on my. I have a personal tracker.
Oh. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, thank you for this. We will watch it muted. It's fine. Let's see. Big pen. Okay. So on attack specifically, I'm just looking for those flashes, and then for defense, I do kind of just want to see the mini-map stuff. But I'm also keeping an eye out for the mechs type of side, mechs side of things here. Red teammates, all good. Red teammates is a given at this point with this game. Okay, so kind of coming out here, increase this quality just a tad. Oh, it actually just did at the end there. Okay. Little crosshair. I will say one of the things that stands out immediately is the crosshair placement. I feel like, if I recall, like maybe 3 or 4 sessions ago, I feel like our crosshair placement when we were like scaling looked pretty clean. And now that we're kind of focusing on other stuff that isn't crosshair placement, it seems like this could be a good thing to revisit.
Okay.
Kind of like specifically what I mean here is when we come around this, we didn't actually choose any angle we wanted to fight, but also we aren't really at head level. So crosshair placement comes from 2 things. The most basic one is actually like head level, like what is head level for the actual fight, but 2 is actually like what angle are you going to be fighting. And this part to me is actually more important because this kind of shows that you are thinking about what fight you're about to swing into. So if I were to ask you the question here, or if we were trying to assume which angle you were to pick here, it'd be like, okay, this is the angle we picked. It was kind of just in the open. So
yeah,
if a good thing you can do when you look back into your own gameplay is like, when you're looking at crosshair placement, is trying to figure out what angle you're actually like fighting by just looking at the VOD itself. So in this case, it's like, okay, we kind of picked this one in the open. Some potentials one you could have picked is like this one, or like the edge of this wall, or even like if the smoke wasn't there, it could be there. So as you kind of continue scaling out here, you can see our crosshair placement is still kind of floating. We could be scaling left side, which doesn't really make sense because your teammate's on the right. So you should technically be prepping for this next fight here, which is the fight that you get on the chamber. And you do get the adjustment and you get a little tag there, but the crosshair placement takes time to kind of drag over.
Yeah.
which means that we aren't really thinking about the fight or the angle specifically ahead of time. Now this way I would want to see the flash. Yep, so here we go, flash, perfect. Minimap here, looks like we should look right side, but you clear, oh, you do look right, nice. Okay, so let's go back here. For a second, I thought you were about to look left, which does make sense because your teammates are looking right, but we did get minimap info. Let's go back and take a look at this. So I guess what I'm wondering is whether or not we picked up the info on the minimap. If we didn't, okay, so if we didn't, that would give you the info on how to pre-aim this. See how the rest of this round goes. Sky flash out of heaven. I hate playing against flashes. It's actually so annoying. Okay, we're kind of just chilling here. One spawn, one link. Wow, this guy actually made it out. Okay. Wow, nice shot. Yeah, micro adjustment is nice. Like,
yeah.
You can see this. Like we're aiming a little bit low. So crosshair placement would try to be head level here, but it doesn't matter because when this guy swings into you, you have like a really like smooth adjustment onto the face and just take this guy out, which really shows the efforts of your training in the range and stuff like that. So aim-wise, we're looking well.
For those ones, it's a little confusing for me to know where to pick because there is that slant there, and then I don't know how fast they're gonna come out. So I'm just gonna like hoping for the best.
No, that's fair. I will admit, even in like the higher ranks, you will see some people struggle with that. I will say I don't have it perfect, but it is something to constantly work on. It's like slamps, staircases, even boxes, all that stuff. Like it definitely makes crosshair placement a bit tougher. But I was happy to see the flash at least coming through that smoke there. See me flash here. Round 2 is gonna be a bit quick. Let me speed it up a little bit. Crosshair placement is gonna be the same here. Looks like we are having trouble snapping around. If I recall, the sensitivity I had written down for you at the start was 800.3, and then I believe you've lowered it to something else now. Is that right? Like
yeah,
2.7,
2.8, 2.6 or 2.7. Yeah, 2.7.
Okay. We can definitely work on slowly increasing that potentially, but the root cause isn't actually the sensitivity. Like always think about sensitivity as something that is like a band-aid. It's just a tool. So the reason why I mentioned this is honestly more so for chat, but like a lot of people will adjust their sensitivity because they think it like there's a perfect sensitivity out there. I was in that camp for a long time. It's just simply not true. You can play on any sense, it's just you're doing a trade-off. So playing higher sense means that you have more range of motion, but it's harder to aim with, harder to be precise with, I should say. And lower sensitivity, less range of motion, potentially easier to be precise with, but because it's less range of motion, you know, you kind of have to make up with it to be faster. So in our case here, we could go 2 routes. One would be to lower the sensitivity so you can be faster, which is something that I wanted to try. But given that you have limitations with your setup in terms of size, it would likely be better to just play within those limitations and then actually increase the sensitivity, which means that you probably won't be able to hit that smooth micro adjust that you did earlier without a bit of transition time. But it will hopefully help with the angle flicking. Okay. So let's keep going though. Wow, we are blind. Okay, so it looks like this is a common theme still where, you know, the util comes out, we kind of pause. It's completely valid in this situation. There's 2 smokes coming up and we're kind of holding here for a little bit. This util comes in, this nade comes in, this flash comes in. We're kind of just holding. It's not really anything to change at this point in time, but I didn't want to point it out. Crosshair placement is a bit low here as we come out. Just a little bit on the floor. I'm hoping that before we see it, I'm hoping that we pick this angle for the pre-aim right before we go into it. Okay, so this is probably the biggest thing to change, and I think we might have talked about this briefly with more in relation to Reyna blinds, but I'm slowing it down here. You'll notice your crosshair placement moves with your movement here before picking the angle. It's kind of done in the same motion here. So we're exposing to this angle as our crosshair is just getting to it. That is, I would probably guess, more natural. I'm not in the game. Let me load up into the game. What you're doing here probably is more natural. So I can't really blame you for doing that, but you might have heard me say this before, so it's more so a reminder here. I would want your crosshair to already be on the angle before you made that movement.
Yeah.
And I'm just loading into the game just to give you a visual. But likely if there was a player there anyways, number one, you wouldn't have been punished because they probably don't get the instant kill. And number two, your raw aim is probably good enough to make up for it regardless. So what we're trying to do with crosshair placement is just make things a bit more efficient, which is always a good goal. So you don't have to rely on aim too much.
Still human.
Okay.
Still mortal. My ult's
Let's
ready.
take a quick look at B here. So fly over here. So kind of what we did here was we kind of walked into the angle with our crosshair, kind of like this, right? We kind of just walked into it like this. I would want you to move it first, and then now you don't even have to, you know, like I have my mouse off the mouse pad. I could just like, well, bad crosshair placement, but I can just walk out and click, right? That's the whole idea here. And it also, kind of the more underrated piece about all of this is that when you peek out and you've already have your crosshair kind of preset, I don't know how to explain this, but because your mouse isn't in an active motion, starting the motion again to go for a micro adjustment is going to be a lot easier. Whereas if you're like actively moving the mouse and then have to go for the micro adjustment, that is a lot harder. For aim nerds out there, it's basically going from like a tracking motion, I guess, to like a flicking motion, and that transition can be a bit strange because like you're spiking your tension a little bit. Whereas if you're going from no tension, because you're not aiming at all, into that micro, it's going to be a lot easier, which is kind of why static is a lot of that. But in order to avoid overcomplicating it too much, just know basically pre-aiming and going for a micro adjustment after the pre-aim is going to be a lot easier than aiming as you're moving and then going for the micro adjustment. It's just more inputs.
Is it also helpful for cover? Because you said I was going out into the open, so like if I am tracing it like I was before, is that worse for they could shoot me first?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. It's a little bit nuanced, so I want to play the clip over again so we can kind of see it. In terms of tracing, you are still in cover, right? Like, sure, we could have stopped maybe a little bit earlier, but I think the point that I'm coming to understand from what you're saying is that tracing and then stopping might put you a bit more away from cover, whereas if you pre-aim and peek, you might be able to slice a bit more precisely.
Oh, okay, I see.
This is difficult though, because there is an instance of when you would trace and you would actually go around the corner like this compared to pre-aim and peek. So pop quiz question, when would that be?
When they're closer to me?
Yeah. So if they're closer to you, what would you do? Pre-aim or peek, or would you trace?
I would trace.
You would trace, okay. Now, here is another variable I'm gonna add to it, is distance that we're close to the wall. So if I am adjusting from here to here, would I pre-aim or would I trace?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. In this instance, you would actually go for the pre-aim.
Okay.
Because angle advantage. So this is going to sound a little bit strange, but maybe if you see it, it'll make sense. If I try to trace and there's a player close, I'm just kind of going like really wide here. And it's kind of hard for me to figure out what's going on. But if I'm close to the wall and he's also like there, I'm going to be better off just trying to jiggle, or maybe even just like going for like pre-fires like that.
Yeah,
But
I think maybe
go ahead.
a while ago, like when we were, I don't even remember the exact topic that we were on, but like I've just stopped being so close to the wall because I realized like I was just dying way too quick when I was there.
Yeah. Being close to the wall is a pretty big no-no, but there are instances when you would use it. It's good to throw out jiggles and stuff. Maybe a bit too advanced for us in terms of techniques to utilize at this point. So it's good that you naturally have fallen back after our conversation.
Yeah, I've been trying.
That's good. So to kind of refocus this conversation, one was we're kind of coming around these angles without a proper like angle in mind. So that is leading us to trace. Now there are times when you would trace, and it's pretty much when you have angle advantage. So if I'm picking this player here, technically this player has angle advantage on me because they are 25 meters away from this corner, and I am roughly less than 10 meters away from this corner. So this would be a preaim and peak moment. But
Plant a spike.
9 meters, 8 meters away, and then I'm this player, I'm a lot closer. So in which case, tracing this player actually might make sense because you are going to see them on the trace. That's kind of like the general guideline versus tracing and pre-aiming. It's not perfect. There is a ton of nuance with crosshair placement and mechanics in this game, but that hopefully gives you somewhat of a point there. But more importantly to me, that I would want you to work on for this week is being very intentional with your crosshair placement so that when you look back at your games or when we look back at your games together, I will know what angle you were trying to fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep going on here. I don't even remember slowing this, getting the fight here, so let's take a look. I do like to see that you are doing those little peaks though, like you aren't like just doing it in one motion. You're like slice, slice. Like we are actually doing the movement piece. The crosshairs just can't really seem to keep up. Is kind of what I'm seeing here. Oh man, Phoenix blind, all good. That is the downside of playing against this agent. He is free kill simulator in this rank, even in the higher ranks, to be honest. I don't think I've ever turned the Phoenix blind in my life, unless like I just was already looking into a wall. Okay, so the smoke is up, so this is where we could flash if we were close. Just being on the lookout for that. Your ISO is already through, so I guess it's not needed. Yep, we do flash though. Good. These blinds, man. Okay, again, good micro adjustment. What you'll notice is we actually didn't do a flick here. This is like a very smooth transition. A lot of people would be like, oh, this is calm aim. This is good. I will say it is pretty good. You know, it's controlled. You aren't rushing it. This is a good foundation. And I can't even argue whether or not it's correct or incorrect technique at this point, because in the aim community, there's like this weird thing right now where like in static, you can kind of do this. It's called like the shimmy technique. That's the name of the player. Or you do the Bardos method, which is like hard flick into the micro adjustment. I learned how to flick through the Bardos method, which is, are you familiar with anything that I just said? No? Okay, so let's say I'm trying to flick to this thing here, this angle. If I'm looking here, what I'm used to doing is hard flick, so it's gonna be really fast, and then I go for a micro adjustment after. So hard flick, micro adjust. And ideally, my initial flick lands somewhere close to where I'm aiming, but then I go into the micro adjustment. That's how I flick, that's how I've learned to flick. That's probably what I argue most people have learned to flick. But with people that are newer to keyboard and mouse, something that you'll notice is if you've had experience playing controllers, which even if you haven't, this tends to be the more normal thing. People that have like transition from controllers, because it's harder to flick on a controller, they more naturally move their like crosshair in like a smoother motion. So instead of flicking to the target, kind of like I did and go for the micro adjust, they kind of and then kind of like line up their shot as they're moving. The reason why I say, like, if you asked me a year ago if this is correct technique, I would have said no, that's not actually a proper flick. But you know, there's kind of like this new thing going on, the aim, like the static stuff going on right now, which now I can't really give a definitive answer because aim is always, you know, kind of strange in that sense. But I do think something that is definitive is when you are snapping from one angle to the other, when you're pre-aiming, doing a hard flick is useful. So if I'm going from here, I'm holding this and I need to pre-aim this, that's where a flick would be useful. Whereas currently it might take you a bit more time to go for that transition. So we could kind of, you know, be semantic and say whether or not this adjustment from here to here should be a hard flick or a smoother flick. That is kind of whatever. But at the very case for this pre-aiming here, it should be a bit snappier as you're kind of going from one angle to the next, just because it's quicker. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot, but flicking technique is always a bit strange.
Wait, also, what's static in this?
Gotcha. Yeah, let me pull up a scenario so you'll see. Static is basically an aim type category. Let's just see one wall, 6 targets small. It's, when you see it, you'll know, but it's called static because the targets don't move. Okay. And you can see here, if I slow it down, you can see this is a technique I'm familiar with. Flick plus micro adjustment, flick plus micro adjustment. most of the time the flick that you'll see in these runs is that the flick lands either really close to the target or an intentional underflick. And that's just because the line is a bit cleaner. But yeah, there's so many different aim categories. The rabbit hole's pretty deep.
Gotcha.
Let's see here. I did see this. So this was a nice flick. This in terms of like initial flick speed. Like look at this one. This was a lot quicker compared to the other one. So, and you did go for the flick into the micro here. So it definitely seems like you're capable of doing it. It also seems like something that you are doing here is kind of that over aim drill where you're flicking past and then adjusting with your movement and your aim at the same time to kind of get that. So it seems like you've synced up your aim and your movement in this example pretty nicely here. Looks like this round is going to be a bit over. I don't know what this raise is. Oh, they're doubled up. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the crosshair placement is one of the bigger things here. Even as like we kind of scale here, you'll see our crosshair placement is going to be kind of in the pillar. So when we kind of go into this fight, we now have to go for an adjustment.
Yeah.
And typically vertical adjustments are going to be a bit tougher. The actual gunfight itself, I don't really mind too much just because the bulldog at this range is a little bit hard. But I would say dialing on the crosshair placement is going to be the biggest thing from what I can see mechanically. It's also one of those things that never gets completely mastered. Almost never. Okay, we flash, good. Okay, so this is a big one here. We flash, but looking at our preem and our movement here, it doesn't actually look like we're flashing and looking for a fight. We're kind of just like flashing and walking out. So technically, your teammates all have the angles, so it's unlikely that you are going to get shot if you come out here. But I would have liked to see maybe you flash and then actually pick an angle. I would have picked flower in this case just because it's the first one I'm exposing to. So I'm going to kind of just show what that might look like. But the flash here is good. What we kind of did was like run out after. And you can see in this case, we aren't really ready for any fight. So flash and then kind of like strafe out here, I think would be better. Or if you wanted to, you could, if that was smoked off, you would flash and then strafe out here. Or flash and strafe out here. But like really picking something is, again, just the kind of theme that I'm trying to point out here.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there was actually a player there. Okay, so we're coming around, looking secret. This is the right spot to look. He ice ulted. Okay, chilling here. Okay, so post plant is definitely something that we haven't really talked too much about. And it seems like we're trying to figure out what to do in the post plant here.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that we could revisit at a later date, but the TLDR and post plant you kind of need to know as a duelist player is to take some form of space. So in this case here, the natural thing to take would be the thing that's not smoked off. So going secret here.
Okay. So what our ISO did.
What our ISO did exactly, and you would just follow him there. On B site, it doesn't mean that you have to push a lane, but it's just like taking some form of space. So like, for example, let's say we went B here, and we kind of just stayed here. This would be technically incorrect. What you would want to do ideally is to try and take the space here so that at this point you're just chilling. And now in this post plant, you know, if we're going on the same example as the A site, it might encourage you to push this. On this bomb site, it's a little bit less like that. You don't really have to push anything because you have the space, but the idea is that you try and go somewhere active. In your case, you were at least backside, which is still really good. Like, it's better than being front side. But in this case, just because it's bomb site, you don't have 3 smokes. It's very natural for attackers to take this full secret / dugout spot. But post plant, it is what it is. I know we haven't spoken too much about it, and to be honest, it's not that big of a deal at this point.
Okay.
Most of the time, if you do get in post plant, you're going to convert anyways, even if our position and stuff isn't 100% clean. The hard part is actually getting into the post plant. Okay, so I would like to see the young flash here. Boom, flash, good. Okay, so coming to this smoke here, it's really difficult to find what angle to pick, but you can kind of see where kind of just looking at everything. It's good to commit to something. So like this, I mean, it's very difficult. Don't get me wrong, it's very difficult. But like, at least pick something and then go for the flick if they aren't there, rather than opting for the, I'm in the middle, I'm gonna hope for the best type of thing. It's typically better to commit in those type of situations. And in this case here, if we did follow our ISO to the back hall, you could try and push this guy here. Oh my god. Okay, nice. Teammates are still getting their kills. You're scaling on this homie. Okay, so this is an example of the trace. You did get 2 kills here. Because we're going for the like trace thing, we get caught off guard by this guy. Of course, you're chasing the clove here, so it makes sense. But this is kind of one of the side effects of tracing. You're reacting to them and then stopping rather than stopping with the pre-aim.
Yeah.
I will say though, it does make it pretty clear on what agent or role you might play after you hit gold, or whenever you decide to switch off. I think like something like a controller or sentinel role would probably fit the best. I know you started the game with deadlock, so going back to your roots after all, because at the end of the day, this was all a side quest, playing the Reyna. But looking back at this little flick here, the speed on this one's not too bad. It's definitely not too bad. Wide angle flicks is definitely something that's coming to mind here, because we're looking on this left side here and this guy spawns pretty far. This is a pretty long range flick. Practicing that could be good. The drill that comes to mind for me is lim 850 or something, but let's keep going. CAD controller gamers. Wait, you like playing smokes? Same thing with the angle. Picking something would be good. Oh my god, there's so much detail.
Yeah, I am very low. I don't know what happened here.
It's one of those things that like if you let your crosshair placement go and you aren't focused on it anymore, it just does. It has a mind of its own. The same happens for me.
Like in the game, it doesn't really feel like that, but like looking back at it, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
We're mopping the floor. No, I've been there. It definitely happens to me sometimes still too, if I'm not thinking about it. Okay, so this round's kind of over. We didn't really get any action. It feels similar to, I'm trying to think of the bomb site. It's not coming exactly in my mind, but I feel like we had a similar thing before where we would kind of come out and kind of get into our comfort spot. It's kind of like our comfort spot here.
Yeah.
Every time we've gone to B, this is our spot. So next time you play Pearl, maybe try to make a bit more of an effort to go into that back hall elbow space. Some people call it elbow, some people call it back hall. But this is going to be like a really good spot for you to take as a duelist, if you can get there. It's really hard to get there traditionally, but we have 4 duelists, so everyone's running in. Let's go back. Flash. Okay. Oh, I hate playing against this agent. Surprised if he didn't die. I'm surprised he didn't get any kills. Oh my god. Okay. Getting through the smoke's a bit tough just because we don't have our flash, but let's see here. Oh, I did like that you committed your strafe here. I know the pre-aim was a bit off. It looks like you were trying to commit maybe here or maybe this, but you peeked out and stopped, so that's actually good. Chat, do you know if the retake thing in the range is gone? I was trying to look for it the other day where they had the portal, but I couldn't find it.
I think it is gone. I think we talked about it in our Discord.
Wow, okay. That would have been good for you in this case here. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Okay. Wonder why they got rid of that. That was like nice. At least they're adding replay system. Okay, so same things. Ooh, wow, okay, let's see. That guy didn't die? I thought that was a headshot. Oh, that was a body shot. Okay, let me slow this down a little bit. So crosshair placement obviously would help here, but I wouldn't aim this either. So we go for the adjustment. Okay. The actual like path of your flick looks pretty good. Like it looks pretty efficient in terms of like the line. So I don't think that's the worry. it's more so of like what happens after the initial flick. Your crosshair kind of jitters a little bit. Like, I'm trying to figure out if that's due to the recoil. No, because it dips a little bit before the shot. You see that? It like went up and then it went down a little bit before the bullet.
Yeah.
That might be like a tension thing.
It could be. You've brought up maybe tension a couple times, so we could look into that.
Tension management is like you'll hear that a lot in the aim community. That's like essentially what aiming is. But it's tough. It is tough. Okay, we could flash. Yeah, here we go. So coming to the conclusion, the flash through the smoke is there. It's just a little bit slow, but it is there, which is good. They took it away a while back. I guess so. I haven't done it in a while. I'm not even playing the game, but these flashes are annoying me. Just like we're just blind. Okay, it looks like we get the majority of our kills on defense. On attack, our teammates are kind of just owning. Okay, this pre-aim was nice. We're looking into heaven. We did skip this angle here, which is a little bit scary, but we are looking into heaven, which is good. So it definitely seems like you're aware of some angles.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we are also in forward space here too, which is good. Like we aren't just like AFK be long like your Omen is, which to be fair, he's the only player that's not a duelist in your team, so it's good that he's doing it. But it's good to see that we aren't doing it either. Oof, we didn't clear the corner. Okay. It looks like your read was that no one was there. But
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I think it would be good to work on is crosshair placement, which is very abstract. So I think to kind of nail that in a bit more is anytime you are exposing into a new angle, make sure your crosshair is there before you do. So crosshair here, or sorry, crosshair is here before I peek, instead of crosshair here and then I peek and then it's like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then same when we're kind of approaching this, like you want your crosshair to be here, ideally on an angle you want to fight, instead of like maybe it being in the center here. I think specifically we kind of did the shift peek. So maybe I didn't use the best wording for it, but like definitely having more intentional of that pre-aim is going to be a big thing for us, I think. And it's not that you aren't doing it, I think we just need to see more of it. The smoke. Okay, we're getting stalled. Wow, rocket. All right, next. That was a good decay. Rocket with them. Rays go for the NBA. Okay, you are pre-aiming this, though. I do see you moving your mouse here. Good. Flash. Nade. Phoenix ult. Okay, flash. Ooh, nice. We stopped in this one as well. Like you flash and peek the edge of the smoke here. So that's good. You can see after that though, like our crosshair starts to trail behind. It's like we're trying so hard to move it and it's not getting there in time.
Yeah.
Which, that's a symptom of something else, but like the easy band-aid solution would be to increase our sensitivity and then, you know, work on flicking to the angles quicker. Unfortunately, we don't have any great ways to train that in this game compared to CS. Yeah. So despite the crosshair placement not being 100% exactly where we want it to be, you can see our aim is making up for it, right?
Yeah.
If I go back and slow down here, like this flick looks pretty strong. Lands pretty close. The micro adjustment on the burst, I know that's something we might have touched on before. I want to say it was. Where we're controlling the second bullet instead of just letting the first burst go, which is causing our micro adjustments to look a bit jittery, but you can see our flick and like the raw aim portion is what's making up for these duels here, which is, to be fair, a good place to start. Being cracked greater than good mechs. Being good aim-wise is better than better crosshair placement at some level, but there's a lot of people that don't have good aim and they are still really, really good in this game just because crosshair placement. Essentially, Path is making their life a lot harder than it needs to be.
Wow, I dodged the Phoenix flash.
You did, yeah. Okay, so let's go back and take a look at this fight. What you'll kind of notice is we did like a weird like trace preem thing on this Phoenix, just because our movement was very tight. You did see the flash out here, boom. And then you peek out here. These are good peaks. The idea is good. It's just that unfortunately we are close to the wall here. So it makes it feel a bit awkward. So at this point, what it kind of looks like to me, like the result basically is that we're almost essentially like shift tracking this. Whereas if you did want to pre-aim peek, like you kind of have to go a bit wider for it. But you essentially, when you're close to the wall and you're trying to slice like this, it's going to be pretty hard. And that's kind of what we saw here. So not necessarily anything to change, but something to point out and just how uncomfortable it is when you're close to the wall. Like sometimes when you're close to the wall, it's just better to commit. Or just like try to jiggle your way out. Or get some distance actually, just back up. But I do want to see the actual shot again. Okay, he is crouched to be fair. A lot of our adjustments is struggling to be at head because our crosshair is almost always lower. So when we go for the actual like flick horizontally, right, like we flick, now we have to do this weird thing where we're like flicking back up again.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like if we were already head level in the first place, it would just be that horizontal flick. So there's two things to train here. One is, you know, that drill that we did in the range where you're aiming at like center mass and then flicking back up. And this will help you kind of readjust back into the head. But the other thing is to make sure that your crosshair is like stable on this line as much as possible. Easier said than done, of course. But anytime you notice yourself deviating off, you would do this part of the drill to get yourself back up and then maintain. Which I have two drills in mind that we can kind of account for that. But partly of it too, I think, is map based. Okay, so attack half was a little bit tougher. I think that largely is going to be due to the fact that we weren't able to get deeper into site space, but also the pre-aiming on the fights there. And to be fair, our teammates were just running it down, stealing all the kills to some extent. So take a look at defense here. The only thing I was really looking at for defense, or would want to look at for defense, is just a mini map, looking at the rotate and then trying to find that pre-aim here. But of course, we're looking at the mechanics as well. So see how this plays out. Okay, so this is an example of the trace. Notice how like so close, you're so close to the wall, but you are still tracing the edge. Yeah. That technically is incorrect, just because of the angle disadvantage. Now it would potentially be a little bit different if you were further. So you trace this and your read is that they are close to the door like this. Okay, tracing that would be fine because you have angle advantage. But in this case here, we're close to the wall, but we're still tracing, which means that if there was a player holding this, they would probably just click.
Yeah.
So instead of tracing, ideally you pre-aim and you go for the peek. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think my goal is to just get out of the door, so I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, at least you have the fundamental and tracing it at some level. But we're doing the same thing here, top mid, it looks like. We're kind of tracing like, we might not even be thinking about this angle, it looks like. But ideally we would pre-aim like something and then kind of walk out here. Good movement though. This guy looks like he's lost. Speed up A. Yeah. We should be able to play a little A retake here. Okay, flash. This flash is fine. Okay, so same thing here. And I will say at the very least, at least you are tracing. Like this could look so much worse. So like if you did want to go fast, what you're doing here is correct. All right, we're tracing the edge as we're kind of going, right? You know, trace. What I would prefer you to do is trace until you get to a common angle and then pre-aim and then peek. So it might look like trace, pre-aim, peek.
Mm.
And maybe I'll just do it in full motion. So I'll do ours first. Okay, no stopping. And then I'll do what I would prefer. And you don't even have to stop if you don't want to. You could just go like this, but at the very least stop on the common angle.
Gotcha.
I normally just give myself a little pause first so I can actually set up. Yeah. But sometimes you don't see pros do that. Oof, nice. We do grab the heal as well, it's good. I mean, we're just shitting on people, and it's not even the crosshair placement that is, because like you can see we're so deep into the box here, which I guess is just a side effect of routing the way we did. But you're coming back out. Crosshair placement. I mean, this is just a nice flick on this guy. Boom, shit on. And then we also shit on this Phoenix here. It's like if we are gonna look right, you just look right, but we get a good nice flick into micro. So we're owning people here. Oh no, there's one church. No. Okay, we didn't see that from mini mount. It's okay. Okay. Take this fight here. I'm down. We are shift picking all of these, which is a little bit scary. But we'll keep going for now. Okay. Flash, I'm down. Off of tap, maybe? Okay, similar thing. You know, we aren't really doing the whole preem thing. We're kind of just like tracing on the end. And to be fair, it's good that you at least know that you're tracing. Like, Crosshair is at least doing something. But, yeah, we're tracing that as well. So it's better than nothing, I will say. The preem into the peak is kind of the bread and butter of peaking in this game. Okay, this is fine. I'm trying to understand, I guess. Do you think that the tracing is more of like a symptom, or is it the root? Because it could be a symptom in the sense that we don't know all the angles, so we just trace everything.
I'm not sure. For this one, I think it was a little intimidating because there were so many duelists like just willing to go take the fights. I was like, okay, so which one am I supposed to take? And I think because of that, it made me take a little bit of a backseat and like be a little lazy in committing to things. So I don't know if that's just this game specific or this map specific or just the team comp. I don't know.
What do you think like your intuition kind of tells you, just based on what you would appraise yourself as, I guess?
I think it's something that I need to keep front of mind. I don't know, like I wouldn't be able to say if it's root or symptom, but maybe if I am getting lazy with any other outside factor, it should just be something that I drill down. Sure. Okay.
What do they preem there? Minimap with restored spike? Off there. It's probably just more off your teammate's contact. If we go back to your chamber, was it the chamber? The jet got info off of our flash, so it would be minimap in this case. But even if you were just flashing for yourself, there's like a set. How do I explain this? This is probably a good conversation to have. I think we've had this before, maybe on Haven C, and I do recall it slightly unbind when I was talking about like rectangles and like common angles, but essentially there's just common fights that you get. So like if I were to put common angles on this bomb site from the attacker's point of view, you have like just these angles here. So if you have no minimap info, you just pick one of these. It's like, where else would they be, type of thing. That's the kind of idea. It's like not everything is a threat zone. It's like you just preem and peek to one of these angles. But that's just my tangent. Let's keep going. No jet. Okay, we're kind of just vibing out here. Let's go flank. Okay, we do get the kills. Again, same thing. We're tracing the edge here. Would like to see you preem that common angle. So it's okay to trace all the way up until this point, and then boom, get this crosshair here, stop, and it also could just be that it's maybe we're not willing to stop type of thing. Like maybe you just want to keep going. I'm not sure. But even on the flank, I personally think it's really important to at least peek the common angles. Like I might like flank and do all this. Whoops, I messed it up. I might like trace all this and then I'll get to here, preem this, and then I'll just keep going. If it's like not common. Then I'll get to this part again and then I'll preem peek and then I'll just kind of walk out Yeah, I think that is okay to walk out and kind of trace stuff, but I guess my point is, like, if it's a very obvious angle, I would want a standard peek.
Okay.
Man, the Spectre is so hard to control sometimes. Bursting, I think, what the fuck? Wait, we
I
just
just
killed the
kind
guy
of
full blind.
sprayed. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for the cheats. Let's go. Okay, so same, pretty similar thing here. Which in this case, you would probably just have to preem it off of the angle knowledge of the map rather than any mini-map factor here. But he is a nice shot, I will go ahead and say that. Kind of insane that he hit that. Spray control doesn't look too bad. It's just our starting point, the spray is a bit low, but
Yeah.
it's not too bad, all things considered. What is our jet doing, bro? Get out of my face. Is he mad at you? What's going on here?
No, he was flirting with me.
Ah, I see. The opposite. I see. It's like elementary school type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Blinds. No, these flashes. Okay. Someone typed in the chat they are going B, and now I'm inclined to believe them. Okay. The whole decision making thing, I won't. It's hard to predict these games. It's so hard. Okay. Let's see here. It's so odd watching a VOD with no sound. Okay, let's go back and take a look at this first fight here. So we come around this corner. Boom. You see the trace the whole time.
Yeah.
Whole time. Would have liked to see the stop here. I think if you're able to just change that one thing, where you like trace as you're coming up to a common angle, and then stop, pre-aim, and peek that, and then continue tracing, I think that alone will just level up your game. Because it'll just make things a lot easier, I feel like. Okay. You know what's funny? Is you haven't incorporated spraying too much in your gameplay at all. It's not really mattering.
I still have a hard time like switching my brain from burst to spray. I think that's I never really know, or like even it takes like a second afterward where I'm like, oh, I should have sprayed there, and there's I don't know how to switch that on beforehand.
There's like a video that Hoojin made like ages ago. I want to say it was like his first ones, like the gun hygiene video. But I think we're getting to the stage where, like, if you want to push gold, like higher than gold, probably having like a good gun hygiene to know what technique to use based on the distance of the fight, and doing that completely intuitively will be one of the more important determining factors for you to make that push.
Not bad.
I'll be honest, I didn't have that journey in this game because I played CS. Like, I have experience playing CS. I'm trying to think what like a new player's perspective or experience would be with learning gun hygiene, aside from the arbitrary, if they're close range spray, if they're mid range burst, and if they're far range tap. Like, I don't know if there's like a way to isolate that aside from just actually getting the reps in.
Yeah.
You could probably do something in the range where if you're there are things that's coming to mind. We can explore that at the very end. Let me write that down before I forget.
Yeah, I think that the death matches, like going back and forth, was helpful, but then like actually switching in game becomes a little more difficult for me.
For sure. Like, at some point it has to be fully intuition, where like you're playing the deathmatch and you just know to do XYZ based on the fight you're getting in. And that sounds like the hard part. Which, to be fair, is the hard part. Oh, and then the crosshair, preem. plus peak, uncommon angles, can continue to trace count. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Surprised you're still using this crosshair.
You don't
It's
like
like
it?
so it's great. I think it's cool. It's just a bit unorthodox. Like I don't really see it too often.
It helps me know when I'm moving and not, but
I gotcha. It's definitely valid. I know. Okay, so same thing with the crosshair placement. You can see it like as you're scaling here, it's like roughly head level. You bring it up a little bit, and then it starts to dip again. And I will say like that's a form thing too. Like physically on like how you're postured on the desk and all that stuff, it does play a factor into it. But it's not like you're not unable to aim vertically.
yeah.
Like here, you do adjust it up. So yeah. Crosshair placement, peeking, basic stuff, but it's also fundamental. Our jet's pretty good. He's our bodyguard this game, I guess. Yeah, sounds over. Our Neon's doing pretty well as well. Okay, so you can kind of see a similar thing here in terms of our burst. We're controlling the second bullet. Like we're micro adjusting after the first. Personally, I know I pointed out before, personally that's a habit I would suggest you getting rid of.
Okay.
I don't know if other people would agree with me on this, but I think if you're going to commit to a burst, it's likely going to be better for you to just commit to the burst itself rather than trying to control the second bullet. Now, I say that, and I will admit there have been times in game where I've been caught off guard and someone's peeking me, and then I'll just go like this, and my second bullet would headshot them. I think that's probably not the way to train at the very least. Like if someone's swinging me on a burst, I'd rather just like have these two bursts be separate rather than trying to get them on the second shot. So I just find that it's super unrealistic to train the second bullet. I'm sure I've seen people train it in CS, but like, I don't know. It's just such a tall task. And also it'll like kind of fuck up your second attempt at the shot.
Yeah.
Because like, I guess like by going for this, your next burst is likely going to be a bit harder. Whereas if you burst here and burst here, the two separate instances, it's easier to hit confirm that, I feel like. I could also be wrong, but I do think that's a habit I would personally advise against.
Yeah, I don't even know where or why I picked it up, but
Maybe from tracking games, if you ever played those. Like, it makes sense if you're holding down mouse 1. But sometimes it's better to think about aiming in Valorant as like separate instances with like bursts and taps. Just because spray control is kind of random. Oh shit. Surprised we end up losing this round, but I guess they're all aiming. Went off of flashes. Oh no. Okay, let's just good peek with the cabbages. Oh wait, this game goes 13-11? No, this might be a different Pearl game. It's okay though. Kill here. Okay, this last round. See if we get any fights. We get one here. Fuck this guy blind. I will say our burst hygiene looks good. Like I will say, like even in the higher ranks, you don't really see this too much from like plat players. Like being able to actually move. So it's really good that you have that ingrained as a skill. Like I know I've been trying to push spraying a bit, but this is a good foundation. Okay, so let's see, starting places. I think I want to hop into the range and talk about the gun hygiene thing, and then maybe approaching this with death matches, and then the crosshair placement, like head level thing. So there's kind of like 2 drills with different variations that I can kind of think of off the top of my head, and then wide flicks comes to mind as well. But Yeah, the problems we're trying to tackle here, unfortunately, are going to be a bit tough. But let's do our best here. Okay. Let's see. Windowed full screen. Okay. Okay, so what I'm kind of thinking with the gun hygiene stuff, which just to quickly recap what gun hygiene is for some of the viewers. Typically when you're close range, you are going to be spraying. You can even run a gun. This is a more severe case of gun hygiene. If you're like within 3 meters of a target, you just run a gun. If you're a bit further, you might spray. If they are a bit further, I mean, you could spray here too, to be honest. If they're this far, you might opt for a burst strafe. This is what I would say majority of paths fights look like currently, just these burst strafes. And then when they're really far away, you should be ADSing, maybe even, you should be tapping, maybe even ADSing in those taps. That's the basic gun hygiene thought process, okay? So, I mean, sure, you could isolate it from this specifically, but the target's not really moving, and, you know, this might just be a good start to kind of, I guess, understand the distances when you would do it, just to get a visual representation. But I think you could probably do one better by using the bots. Now for this, I'm just going to use easy bots so we can kind of go from there. But I think if you're in the arena, this is probably a good range to just practice your spray. Like maybe go for a flick and then go for a spray and just commit here. I think this is what I like to do. I like to do it with hard bots. But I think this is like a good range in a game that you should be using sprays for. So just getting really accustomed to this range and spraying here, I think could be really useful.
Okay.
Now, if we back it up a little bit, this is probably the range that you would burst. Maybe just from this length. Like this is probably what most people are used to. Just bursting from this range, just being really mobile, just AD strafing and bursting from here. We back all the way up here. This in a real game, this is where you'd be tapping. You could burst as well, but this is typically going to be a combination of burst plus taps in a real game. So I think this could be a starting place to try and get the gun hygiene compared to using this bot, just because it does require some flicking. But I think the other part of this is going to be really trying to translate that into deathmatch and just thinking about that gun hygiene. Now, I know that's kind of tough because it's easier said than done, but trying to build that intuition, I think will be good.
Okay.
I think what we could do for this is have you play a deathmatch, and then after you take a fight, I'm trying to think. I know who's used a buzzer, but buzzer is probably, you know, a bit tough. So I'll probably just vocally say like whether or not that was good or bad or like correct or wrong. And we'll go with that feedback instead of a buzzer. The other thing that we could do here in terms of the crosshair placement thing, in terms of keeping it head level, I know we talked about this drill before, but aiming a bit lower and then flicking up so that we can adjust our crosshair once it's like fallen out of the line. I think this is good to train because it's unrealistic to expect us to always be at head level. It's okay to see if your crosshair is dipping and then bring it back up. This is what this would help with. But the other part is actually just maintaining this line, which easier said than done. I know you've done this before, but I still do it to this day. Just starting on the left side of the bots and just trying to tap my way through to the right. I find it helpful mentally to kind of know that I'm able to kind of maintain this horizontal line, but also have cleaner micro adjustments. So I know you're doing this, but I think this is a good drill to kind of re-implement here in terms of the routine. And then last but not least, this one's going to be a bit tough. I did see a YouTube video from Aimbot Neon that kind of inspired the strafe portion. I've always been doing Eliminate 50 without the strafe. It's kind of up to you. Maybe you could use it as an advanced, but let me kind of just show it first. Eliminate 50 spawns bots that are going to be further out of our range here. So this is kind of where you can kind of develop your flick technique in terms of wide flicks, right? Some of these spawn really far away and you have to go for a flick plus a micro adjustment, and just kind of, you know, doing that isolated here, I think is going to be really important. You can add movement if you want to kind of just have some in-game application to it, because typically you are going to be strafing a real game. I think that's valid. The more advanced version of this, which I fucking hate, is inspired by Aimbot Neon's video. He talks about like just using the strafe portion of the spots, and you're just trying to use this timer as like a score. So every second, you want to kill a bot in a second is his idea here. I don't know if I fully
Okay.
subscribe to the idea, but if, like, let's say like there's 50 bots on this one, and I finish this in 80 seconds. That's like 40 whiffs. That's how you would categorize it. You can see I'm whiffing a lot more here. So I don't think this is necessarily something you had to do, but it will train multiple things at once, like more of like a compound movement. You're training your burst strafes or your spray control or your flicks as well, based on what you decide to do. So this is something that maybe you would close out your range drill with, for example. Not really start with this just because it is, I think, more difficult, but you could start or you can end with this if you wanted
Okay.
to. But let me kind of recap. So number one, we would, if you want, you can start over here, or you could do the easy bots a bit further just to get that gun hygiene portion down. I don't know exactly the order of all this, but this is, you know, one drill. You could do it from far. This would be the tapping range. I would just say define tapping as behind the staircase. If you're a bit closer like this would be your bursting range. Just burst your life away. You could do medium bots just to make them spawn quicker if you'd like. I would probably avoid doing hard bots because you won't be able to aim in time.
Yeah.
And then if you're in the range, this is where you would spray. Little spray. Oh, wait, did we just get a raid? We got a raid. Eggwick. Thank you. I don't know if that was a raid for you or for me, because I don't have notifications set on properly,
I
but
think it's for you.
welcome to the stream, guys. We are coaching. But yeah, that would be the 3 ranges there. Again, I don't know if you could start or stop with that. And then this one, obviously, I think very basic, but I quite like this one still. So you do that and then eliminate 50 right after. It's very simple. You could do it standing still. You can add movement to it. And then maybe to close out, you could do the strafe. But let me write some of this down in the document.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too would be bringing in the customs back. I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen the warm-up video that you've been doing, but bringing out the custom where you're walking around the map and figuring out those angles could be good as well. But let me see. So let me try to think of the order. Maybe the order would be the easiest to do the bots left to right. Macro adjustment / horizontal practice. Oh, I skipped one. The other one was going from here to here, like up.
Oh yeah.
So maybe it would be better to start with this one, the horizontal, and then do the flicks after. Okay, so let's see. Starting left. Starting on one side and going to the other, killing all bots. And then aiming at waist and flicking up to the head. And then maybe I'll group these together. Horizontal. Oh wait, I know how to do this. So it'd be this. Okay, so that's first. Next would be the gun hygiene stuff. So medium, easy / medium bots. In the arena is spray practice. At the normal standard range is burst practice, and behind staircase is tapping practice. And then after that we had eliminate 50, wide flick practice, probably without strafes first, and then add strafes at ends for a challenge. At the very end of all of this, probably makes sense to just play death matches. Honestly, I wonder if you're at the stage where you could probably just play death matches with the intent of like crosshair placement / pre-aim intent over the custom, because I feel like that's what the majority of players do at some point. But what do you think about this routine, I guess?
I think it's good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think for a while I started like trying to speed run through my warm-ups because I
There's so
found
much.
that it was so much so like by the time I got to the games I was like really tired and I didn't know if I was like doing my best or if I could have done better because of that. So maybe I'll run through it a little, like a couple times, and see how I feel about it, and we can
For sure.
adjust throughout the week or something.
Okay, no, that sounds good. Maybe we'll flip it over to you to do some of these drills. The main one that I would want to look at for this session would be the gun hygiene stuff. So maybe if you'd want, you could do this gun hygiene drill and then hop into a deathmatch after. And then I will make a comment after every single one of your duels and be annoying.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, that's my job today. I'm the annoying coach.
I'll stream.
My ultimate's ready.
Yes, that'd be perfect. In chat, you gotta help me keep Path accountable.
Doesn't matter which agent, not really.
Nope, does not matter.
Okay, I'm gonna keep this this note off to the side
Go
my
for it.
own reference.
Whatever is best. Yep, yep.
Okay, so wait, this one.
Yep. Bum, ba-dum, bum.
I don't touch this one, right? I just do this.
That's correct.
Okay.
You just start.
So
Easy peasy. Okay, and then you would spray all of these.
oh shit.
That's
My God.
okay.
That was in the way. Okay.
Yeah, so I see that you're lining up your first shot. Don't even think about it. Just when you see the target, just react to it and then immediately flick and spray. It's okay if you miss your first couple bullets. The goal is to spray control the bullet into his head if you miss. So it's okay. Flick faster. It's fast. Yeah, no, and then hold down mouse select.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh no.
And then now that's the spray control part. So keep going.
Oh my God.
Don't overthink it.
Well, I changed my because we went over how to
Oh,
the things.
that's right click?
Yeah, I unbinded my ADS because I wasn't using it.
I see. I see. I mean, that's unique. Those are unique keybinds.
Okay, and then we can do.
Yeah, I think you
First-
run that one back one more time.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness.
I know. It's been a while since we sprayed. Faster, faster.
Oh. Oh no.
Yeah, we still gotta get the pulling down portion, but the first like 5 or so bullets looks fine. I forgot about the whole sensitivity thing.
Oh yeah, can you change it?
Yeah, so do a 180 for me right now.
Oh.
Just try and turn around. And, I mean, it's not that bad. We probably don't have to make much of an adjustment. Maybe try going back to the original 0.3. Okay, try again. I think this looks fine. Let's stay on this for now. Try the, I mean, it's gonna take a little bit to get used to it again, but try not to overthink it. Just flick and spray this guy. Yeah, so I see you're canceling the spray, because that's what you're used to. Just hold down the F. Yeah, yeah. Easier said than done, I know. Breaking the habit. You just gotta pretend you have the best spray control in the world.
Oh no.
I'm curious at chat, do you guys practice your spray? I don't know how many dominant players we have in here, but if you can get a good spray control in this game, it makes the game so much easier. Okay. We do some little bursty burst.
Oh yeah. See, it's
That's okay.
it's the switch thing.
I know, I know. Not as often as I should. Maybe it's not. It doesn't have to be a should, I guess, unless it's like right in your face. But I see what you mean. A lot more I was playing Counter-Strike. Yeah, spraying in CS is very nice. Good chilling. Try this whole tapping thing here.
Oops. I feel like even when I try tapping, it comes out as burst sometimes.
I know. That's part of the skill. Knowing exactly how hard and how long to press your mouse one. I will say that still happens to me sometimes. Like I'm intending to go for a tap and then just 2 bullets come out.
Yeah. Do you think I'm too far away?
This is fine.
Oh.
And then we'll queue up a deathmatch after this.
With the .3?
Yeah, with the .3. This is our new
Oh.
sense for now.
Okay. After
Just realize
all
that your
the,
binds can never use a sniper. True.
all the hullabaloo about lowering my sends. We're back up.
We're back up, baby. It's not that much of a change. I mean, you might it might feel enough of a difference that you'll notice it, but it's not enough of a
Match
difference
found.
for it to warrant not changing it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Alright, just remember the gun hygiene stuff here. If they're close, spray them. If they're burst, or if they're mid-range, burst. If they're far, tap. Easier said than done. And
Okay.
it's subjective to some extent. But I will do my best to, you know, identify when I think one would be better than the other. What was the old sense? 802.6. Now we're on 803. Yeah, that's a good burst range. I like it.
Oh.
Can't vouch 3 is a god sense. See you doing the pre and peek. I like that. That's a good burst range. I personally would be spraying on some of these too, but
really?
that is a traditional burst range. Yeah. This one I would spray. I would spray this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100% I would spray that. Since you are so comfortable, I would. That's a good burst range. Since you're so comfortable with bursting already, maybe we could do a challenge where you. This might be interesting. Maybe you can only spray. Oh, that's good. That's a good range to spray. Maybe you can only spray or tap. Like you can't do the in between.
Oh no.
Their death demands
Let's go
our
to the
attention.
extremes. This should let you feel
Bring
the
your
range a
best.
bit more.
Oops.
That's fine. Spray! Spray! It's okay. I'm the annoying coach for a day.
Problem solved.
You're so used to burst. That is a good range to burst though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely a sprayable kill.
Really?
Yeah, let's
Target
practice spraying on the wall for a second.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
take-
Okay.
Yeah, let's get this down.
Kind of
That's
losing
okay.
some frames, but
Oh, is it?
yeah.
I gotcha. Would be like. That's a nice shot by him.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that looks fine on the wall. Gonna convert that into a player. This is the problem with deathmatch. Everyone's just so far away.
One less.
Path's burst fundamentals are so concrete. So these would be taps.
Oh, you
Almost all of these. Yeah. This would be a spray. It's okay.
What about that one?
So that one's a good burst range. These would be taps if they were there. This would be burst. Yeah. First thing here is good too. That one would be a tap if I got showed up on the right side. This one's gonna be a burst.
Someone's behind me.
Nice. Yeah, that one, most people burst slash tap on that one. I feel like deathmatch, you don't really get that many spray fights, do you? I guess not. I'm trying to think about my own experience when I play deathmatch on this map. I feel like Lotus definitely isn't that much of a spray map. Drop so big, I know. It's a nice shot by him. I mean, from what I can tell, it's like the only, I don't want to say like error, but like thing that you can optimize in your gunfights would be to spray when it's wild.
Dominating.
That could be a good spray fight right there, for example.
Oh, okay.
3 down.
Like, you are winning a good amount of your fights here.
Maybe that's not winnable.
Yeah, you would probably tap this one. Or even ADS, but obviously you don't have a bound. You could spray that one too.
Ten kills remaining.
Yeah, Path has done the metronome thing, and it definitely helped out a lot, I think.
I think so too.
Just crush spraying? Yeah, crush spraying is good. Overdoing it's not good, but overdoing anything's not good. Like right now we're overdoing bursting. Like it works, but
I feel like when they're too close to me, it's hard to convert to a spray.
the spray.
Because they'll
Yeah.
just run away.
I feel that. Yeah, I guess part of it too is trying to land that one bullet to slow him down. But like that would be a perfect spray right there. Looks like he was standing
Yeah.
still. Nice. Could be a good spray there too. I'm trying to think. This is such a hard thing.
Hold on, I got scared.
I'll fuck him up.
Oh, I should have sprayed them.
That would have been a good spray. Yeah, that would have been a good spray. See, that's the thing. You're owning them even when you're bursting, but like,
Hostile
yeah.
down.
See, that would be a good spray too. And you did spray at
5
the end
kills
there.
remaining.
That would also be a good spray.
When I dip to 90 frames per second, I lose it.
Yeah, makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Got this movement. Do you play a lot of death matches?
A couple a day.
So like 2 to 3, you would say?
Yeah, 1 or 2.
1 or 2?
Yeah.
We could probably see what that looks like if we push that number up to like, say like 3 to 5. I'd be curious. Nice though. I mean, your bursting's definitely gotten really good.
1 kill remaining.
I think chat would agree too. So looking at that, it definitely seems like we're struggling with the sprays.
Yeah.
That's 1. 2, like if I go back to the notes really quickly, there's like a couple of things that we could work on mechanically. We have the gun hygiene thing. We have the crosshair placement thing with like tracing and then the preem and then that whole shebang, and then, you know, wide flicks, whether or not we want to flick quicker. I think if we were to boil this down to even more, I think in terms of gun hygiene, we have spraying that we want to do, and then the preem plus peak on common angles. Like, those are the 2 things mechanically that I think I would be very happy with if come by next week, both of those 2 things we have made progress on. The spraying and the preem and peaking on common angles. Now the actual method on how to train that is kind of getting lost in the sauce in my head a little bit. But I think like the death matches, you could kind of do 2 birds with 1 stone in a way, but I do find it difficult to kind of isolate both of these in an environment that makes sense. Like the spraying, the best thing we have is the bots when you're in the range with them. But in the preem and the peaking probably would be best done in a custom server, but like translating that to a real match is kind of the hard part here. I don't know, what do you think? Routine wise.
I think doing it in the deathmatch is probably fine. But I don't know.
This might have to be like a trial thing. Like maybe like a day or so, you'll see how it feels, I guess. But those are the 2 goals, I think. I maybe treat this routine more of like a template or like a suggestion, but not necessarily the entire. It might not be exactly what you need to get you there. It might be like part of it. But I feel like mechanics are so feel based that outlining very specific stuff like this is difficult. And I've never been a really good coach to kind of create stuff like this myself. Wuhuyan has always been a really good guy for this, but I feel like even when I watched this gun hygiene video, it was kind of just go in the range, shoot this bot, and then go into a deathmatch and also do those appropriate ranges. So yeah, it's a tough one. And then the pre-aim and peeking stuff. Those are definitely the two biggest things, I think, to try and implement. Easier said than done, of course.
As with everything.
As with everything. But I really do think that if you can get your spraying in not even like a lot of your fights, but just a couple to simplify, and then the pre-aim and peeking on common angles, things will look a lot cleaner. Yeah, things will look a lot cleaner. I'm trying to think on the spraying note. Have we done spray transfers on with the spraying before?
No, you showed me it just to get an idea of what we're aiming for, but we haven't implemented it.
Okay, so that definitely could be something that you could add on to this routine potentially. So I have showed you it before, but just to kind of recap, like you'd probably start with a wall, just spraying the wall first, and then from there you just pick 3 targets. So in this case, 1, 2, 3. I always start in the middle and then flick to the side, so it might look something like this. Which that one was bad, but again, I'll do 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3, so I didn't get the kill. But I think if you can get your spraying to be head level, because like what's a requirement for what I just did here is that you can flick horizontally, but then control your spray at head level, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of number 1. 1 second though, someone's knocking on my door.
Hello chat, it's just me now. Ask me anything about Valorant. I know everything now. We've been doing coaching for 10 weeks. I know everything. Road to gold? No, we're still path to gold. Soon. I was hoping this weekend, but I didn't play yesterday. And I've been really tired. We've had a heat wave, so. How do I win 100% of games? You could try installing a cheat. I've heard that that's very effective at getting 100% win rate. You could try getting better. Those are my tips.
I'm back. What'd I miss?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Yeah, that's I think I'm such a big advocate on spraying, so it's I guess it's hard for me to not stray from that. But your bursting technique is good, okay? So I feel like maybe you could spend less time on the bursting and focus on the spraying a bit more and see where you are with spraying. Like make that one of the biggest focuses for this week.
Okay.
I think naturally in game, you will go back to bursting. I'm completely okay with that, right? But at least in the training, if you can make this spraying portion of your game a lot higher level, I think that it will naturally introduce its way into your game at some point once you gain some confidence in it. Now, at this point, like I know, like if on a scale of 1 to 10, let's say like your bursting is 10 being the best, like bursting, you're probably like confident. So for you, it's going to be like maybe a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Mm-hmm. But like spraying, like, you know, that's probably somewhere closer to like a 2, maybe like a 1 to 3 range. So that's probably why you're not using it. But like if you can get your spraying to like 6, maybe even 7, you'll probably use it more. And that's kind of like what I would love to see, just because I think I'm a big sprayer. I think it's one of the most underutilized things in this game. It also simplifies a lot of gun duels. And I feel like it's one of those tools that maybe we're missing. And it's 100% true that you don't have to spray. But I do think that it will make your push to gold easier. And it will also set you up, I think, to make the push to higher ranks a bit easier as well.
Okay.
So that's on that side of things, spraying. The other thing is just the pre-aim peeking thing. So, you know, like we're doing a lot of tracing, which is fine. But I think if you can be a bit more intentional and go for a pre-aim peek, it just makes your life a lot easier. I guess like a lot of the goals of what I'm trying to get you to obtain mechanically is to make your life a lot more easier by spraying and having better crosshair placement with the preem and peeking stuff. Because as we kind of stated in the VOD review, it's not the raw aim side of things that we're lacking on. In fact, that's probably how you're getting most of your kills, is that we're just micro adjusting and shooting them in the face with our bursting technique. And it's working well for us, right? Like we're pushing, we're in silver 2, we might be pushing silver 3, like, you know, we're still on the uptrend. And likely you would be able to make the push to gold with enough repetitions over time and just making small tweaks. My goal is to kind of set you up as a player past gold. I think that if you can do the spraying and the preem plus the peeking and like have your crosshair placement like at a decent part of the game, like mechanically, that will set you up probably like late plat to maybe even like early diamond, just for like the mechanical fundamental. Because in my opinion, I think you need those things to kind of be concrete to make that push there. So that's kind of where like my headspace is at. And then that's obviously not including the whole decision making stuff, but just from the mechanical aspect, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where my head is at. I think if you're able, now this might be a tall ask, but if you're able to kind of do something that looks relatively close to the spray transfer and it's all headshots by the end of this month, you'd probably be looking good. I think realistically doing something like this in a week is likely going to be difficult, but I'm always up for surprises. But realistically, it's feasible, I think, depending on how much time you spend on it.
Okay.
And maybe it's a challenge that chat can pick up too. Just develop your spray transfers where you can spray transfer 3 bots. It's okay if you insta-kill the first one, you just want to get headshots on the next 2. That's the idea here. So this might be a little benchmark that you can try and get to. I think that is fine. Something that actually I just reminded myself of when I said benchmark, this is gonna sound so strange, but I used to benchmark myself with my spray without bullets on my Vandal on this thing here. And I would see how many hits I would get. And what was good for me with the Vandal, like they changed the range a little bit, but let's say I was here, I would try and get over 15 bullets hit. And obviously I'm trying to aim for all of the head here. Sometimes it will hit the body, but like that was like a good threshold for me. And then you just buy your gun again. And I used to do this like literally every time I warmed up, which is I would just spray full clip and then I would buy my gun again. And then I would wait for it to disappear and I would do it again. Phantom, the numbers are a bit different because you have 5 more bullets and also the spray is a bit easier. So I would kind of aim for anything above 20. So that one was, I would say, a bad one. But I wonder if you wanted to benchmark with yourself with your spray, you could do something like this.
Are you crouching when you do that, or is that just the
I do crouch.
with the gun?
I do crouch, yes. Pretty much anytime I spray in the game is going to be crouch. But you don't have to. You can do this full standing. The difficult thing with crouching that most people do incorrectly is they crouch before they shoot. So now they're shooting bodies instead of crouching after they shoot. So you don't have to crouch if you don't want to. That's just a habit I kind of picked up from CS, to be honest.
Okay.
And I carried over into this game. But yeah, maybe I'll set that as some goals here, like spray goals, benchmarks maybe. We had one was like the 3 bot spray transfer, all heads, and then on the, I don't know what to call this thing, on the target range thing, bot, target range bot, target bot, 10 meters, Vandal, I would say 15 plus. Maybe we'll do like 17 plus just as a stretch goal. Just with this.
Okay.
I feel like 17 plus might be a bit tough, but yeah, that would be a good spray. Okay. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. How do you feel?
It's a lot, but that's what I asked
Yeah?
for this one. So good. I'm feeling good.
Okay, good. Let's go. Let's see where we're at with the spray next week, and of course the pre-aim. I think those are the two biggest things. I'll probably be looking a bit more closely at the spray stuff next week, just because I feel like it's a bit more benchmarkable and visually seeable, I guess, in the range. The pre-aim stuff is a bit harder, but yeah. If you could just abandon the whole idea of bursting as part of your training for now. Like you'll naturally come back to it in game, like I said, which is fine, but spraying is the big thing.
Makes sense.
Alrighty, Path. Good luck. Chat did say you're close to silver 3, so fingers crossed, but
I was really close, and then I lost 2 games, and I haven't got back up, so...
I gotcha.
I'm at the point where it's like I'm losing and gaining like 30 each time, so I don't really know how to... I guess...
Wait, what do you mean? You play a game, you get plus 30?
I did a couple times, and then lose, and I'll lose 30. So it's like
That's
extremely
insane.
back and forth.
I've never heard of anyone gaining plus 30 but then losing minus 30. It's normally like if you're in the range of plus 30, your losses are like 15.
Nope.
So the game is probably trying to figure out where you are still.
Yeah, I don't even know where I am right now, so that makes sense.
I mean, there are a lot of Smurfs. Oh, they're adding that whole Smurf thing. So hopefully when that patch comes out, your life will be a lot easier.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Also, I did send you the one that you wanted. I got confused because I thought you showed me the May 30th pearl, but it was the 31st.
Oh, gotcha.
Technically Paris time 31st. So
I see.
That's why
So I clicked on the wrong link.
Yeah. All good.
Oopsies. Alrighty. I don't think I have anything else. Good luck on the week.
Thank you so much.
Good luck on the spray control. And yeah, good luck on the games.
Thanks
Reach
for your
out if you need me.
time. I will.
Of course. Alright, see you next week.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I think I'm still in the call, so I'm gonna hold on. Okay, I think I'm out. Just win your next game's easy. Here, I'll show you the back and forth with the RR. Maybe I should have shown this to dopai because it's a little... It's like... very whiplash. Okay, it's not letting that go away, but like 23, 31, minus 16, which is fine, but the minus 30, 22, minus 26. It's like super whiplash. But what can you do? What can you do? All right. Well, today I do have a meeting, but we do have a little time to look through some media club stuff, which is good. I just have to switch to my other Notion doc. Thanks for the raid. Thanks for the coaching. All right. We're doing June picks. I'm scared of like rushing this because of the meeting, but we'll be fine. So for those of you who don't know, we do Media Club. We're starting a new blurb submission aspect of it so that we have a little more to choose from come Media Club. Originally I was thinking maybe I should look through these beforehand and just pick them myself, but do we want the engagement aspect of it, of us looking through every response? I don't know. Lots to consider. There are a million ways we could go about doing this. If you do ! Media Club, you can find the links that we're looking at right now in a second. Because I don't know what it makes the most sense to do for this. Also, maybe we should go back from Valorant background music to our chill existential crisis live on stream, so I don't feel so stressed out. How many responses are there? 14. 14, but we can look at them when kind of quickly, just kind of skim through them. I want to look more so at the... Okay, we can look at them individually. Let's do books, since there are only 2 book responses, book suggestions. The first one, Almost French, submitted... Why is this so loud? Submitted by Brad. I've never read this, but I saw it mentioned on Twitter and it reminded me of you. The author moved from Australia to France after falling in love on a short visit, and the book goes over her time adapting to being in a new place. Actually, this would be so relevant to me, but I don't know how relevant it would be to to other people who want to participate. Let's look at the other suggestion. H is for Hawk. The book is a study in grief and trauma with all of its unexpected manifestations and complicated emotions. It's written from the perspective of 2 different people who go into the career of animal care and conservation while working through their traumas. However, one story shows how their experience can heal and help to fill the hole left behind, while the other shows how their leftover pain can blind their judgment in such a delicate field and ultimately lead to more pain. Holy shit. Both very good picks. Oh my god. I don't know how to... Can you still submit? This will be open for forever, so you can submit whenever you want. We go through them once a month. Oh yeah, we should change the title if we haven't already. Thanks. I think you just pick what interests you. Shit. I think we actually made it harder by asking people to share, like, their blurbs, because now I want to read both of them. Okay, let's look at the one with the most submissions, and maybe we can just... I don't know how to do this. Maybe we look at a sheet. Oops. We look at a spreadsheet. This might be easier. I don't know. Format. I forget how to do this. How do you... Filter. There we go. You can just filter it by movie. Let's say movie. Oh. Yeah, auto-generated filters. Did I miss it? And I just added them again. Do the Right Thing, Ripley, Perfect Blue. Anyone know of any of these? I want this one to wrap. How do I wrap? Oh my god. I haven't used Google Sheets in a while. There we go. An extremely important movie that touches on a ton of themes that overlap with albums you've reacted to. Touches on hip-hop, black culture, and race relations in the 80s, more specifically in New York. Its climax is one of the best, most powerful scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Also, young John Turturro, Irv from Severance is in it. Ripley, an 8-episode miniseries entirely in black and white that keeps you on edge all the way through, either through the fantastic story or Robert Elswit's amazing cinematography. This is one of the most horrifying movies I've ever seen. As a viewer, we are being terrorized by every single movement of every character. This movie messed my brain up so many times I forgot what is real and what is fake. It simply is the best psychological horror movie ever, and still is my favorite movie of all time. We follow Mima, a pop singer trying her best to make a way into acting, but fame doesn't only bring you fame, it also brings you something more sinister, something disturbing, and the story continues exploring the themes of identity and fame. And please, watch Perfect Blue. I think I'm kind of sold on this. I kind of want to watch this, especially considering on my list still from a month ago now. Sinners. That's good. That's good. This one convinced me immediately. We'll do it. Starting for June. Then I think for book... Oh my god, why does it get rid of the wrapping? Shit! I think for book, I kind of want to read Almost French just because it's so applicable to my life. But y'all can read H is for Hawk, or if we don't get a lot of submissions for next month, we can move it all over. And just because we don't pick yours for this month doesn't mean we won't pick it ever. This, maybe I should add another column of like selected so that we don't pick it twice. But like next month, we can definitely read this one. Okay, and now we'll do game, Clair Obscur, and Mass Effect 2. I think Clair Obscur is the really popular one right now, so just based off of that, that might be the month's pick for me. We'll read the blurb after I figure out how to wrap it. Leave me alone! Did I hear Clair Obscur? Expedition 33, put simply, is one of the greatest video games ever made. Developed by a small French studio of around 30 devs, it blends the heart of a classic JRPG with a modern twist. Its turn-based combat comes alive with real-time QTEs, parries, and dodges, alongside a deep build system and extremely diverse character gameplay. The story is unpredictable, emotional, and completely unforgettable. You will laugh, cry, and then cry some more as you progress through the story. On top of that all, we have an absolutely top-tier voice cast, featuring the likes of Ben Starr, Jennifer English, Andy Serkis, and Charlie Cox. A visually stunning world shaped by a masterful art direction. Expedition 33 is an experience you'll never want to leave. Okay, I'm sold. Okay, I'm sold. Let's do it. And I'm gonna add a new section in this, in the Media Club Notion with the blurb. And submission shared by Anochi. I forgot to do this for the other ones, but I'll do this after the stream, probably during my meeting. And finally, our album pick. A bunch that have made it onto my list. Actually, a couple of these I've already listened to. So Nurture I can also vouch for. Dark Times I can also vouch for. Let's wrap this so that we can read it. Also, it's made its way to my most recent. Just effortless delivery over chill beats, and the song Shame on the Devil is so good. Amen, Viet. Amen. Nurture Anonymous says, this album is super relatable to anyone that's felt lost or aimless in terms of personal, creative, or professional goals, all set to very complex yet sugary sweet electronic production. It really got me to appreciate some of the smaller things in life. This is a very sweet album. I love it as well. But in terms of new holy, we have a little personal essay written for The Infamous by Mobb Deep, rap duo made up by rappers Havoc and Prodigy. Rest in peace, Prodigy. I think I gotta choose quickly. I think, did we do did we add imaginal disc? This one I think was like everyone's top pick for a while, and I still haven't listened to it, so I'm wondering if we should. The blurb says, as someone who's not very into pop music, this is such a unique way to make experimental pop. The whole thing is very cohesive in its sound without getting repetitive or boring, and track 5 has to have one of the catchiest choruses I've heard in a while. This is submitted by Rinkin, and I think we're just gonna full send it. We'll check out these other albums another time. Sorry I'm rushing the end of the media picks, but I really gotta go to my meeting. So I'll update the Notion probably during my meeting, and you can also, let's see, do I want to make all of the blurbs public? Maybe we should do, dude, we make a website with a random picker for all of these. Okay, I'll think about this. I'll think about this some more. Another website for me. Well, also right now we're doing a song challenge in the Discord, so go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. Very interesting picks that we're getting so far. We're only day 2 in the challenge, so you can catch up quickly if you haven't. Okay, I really gotta go, so hope you're having a good morning, evening, night, whatever it is wherever you are. I hope you have a good one. I will find someone to raid really quickly, and I will see you. Oh, not on Wednesday. I'm gonna take off Wednesday from streaming so that I can listen to music. I know. But I'll see you on Saturday. We're playing Split Fiction with a special surprise guest. So I'll see you on Saturday. All right. And I will see you later. Bye, 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 bye. Northern Line would be crazy, I'm not gonna lie.
Rewind to before I changed, started acting strange, had my life in my own hand. Meanwhile, I was wasting time, thinking things were fine, but you had other plans. Behind your weak disguise, all the worthless lies, I was wrong and now I know. Don't think that I won't try, this is not goodbye.
Oh, it's failure.
Oh, I don't think we've rated Maya, second person Pixel Plus. Say hi for me.
All my life I've been pushed around, always lost, not found, but I didn't realize. Like a giant standing in my way, leading me astray, now it's time for me to rise. I knew I had to find myself, turns out I'm on my